Hello, my dear students, and welcome back. So, today we are going to tackle a chapter that I know many of you feel is a little long, the Bhakti-Sufi traditions. I know, it looks huge in the textbook, hai na? But trust me on this one. It's actually a beautiful story about love, about music, and even a little bit of rebellion. And I promise, by the time we're done, you'll see how simple it is. And scoring full marks? Oh, that'll be a piece of cake.
Yeah, I get it. You open the book and see all these new names and strange words, and it feels a bit much. But please, don't you worry about a thing. We are going to break it down together, step by step, until every single piece just clicks into place. You'll be so good at it, you'll probably end up teaching it to your friends. So ready to start? Okay, so here's our simple plan for today. Think of it like a roadmap. We'll start with Bhakti, then we'll jump into Sufism. After that, we'll meet some really cool people who challenge the old ways, and then, the best part, we'll do a quick super summary for your exams. It's a solid plan. Ready? Let's go. Cholo!
All right, first stop, Bhakti. Now, the word itself might sound a little heavy, a little serious, but the idea behind it, it's actually incredibly simple and beautiful. At its heart, it's all about love.
So, what exactly is Bhakti? Look, the main thing to remember is this. It's all about having a direct, personal, and really emotional connection with God. That's it. No complicated pujas, no need for a middleman, nothing. It's just you, your feelings, your love for God. A direct line, straight from the heart. See? Simple.
Okay, now listen up, Beta. This is super important. This is a classic exam question, so pay close attention. Bhakti isn't just one thing. It has two main paths. First, you have Saguna. This is when you worship God with a specific form, like a beautiful murti of Vishnu or Shiva that you can see and picture in your mind. Then there's Nirguna. This is when you worship a God who is formless, an abstract energy, something that's everywhere, like the wind or the sky, but has no single shape. Just remember this, Saguna is with form and Nirguna is without form. Got it?
So this amazing idea, where did it all start? Well, for that, we need to travel down south. We're going to Tamil Nadu, because that's where some of the very first voices of this Bhakti movement started to sing.
And here they are. Meet the Alvars and the Nayanars. These guys were basically wandering poet saints. They would travel from one village to the next, just singing these beautiful poems full of love for God. It's easy to remember. The Alvars were devoted to Lord Vishnu, and the Nayanars, they were devotees of Lord Shiva. You can see Shiva here in his incredible form as Nataraja, the Lord of the Dance.
But what made them so special? Why do we still talk about them? Well, this is why. They were total rebels. They stood up and directly challenged the rigid caste system of that time. And get this, their groups had people from all backgrounds, Brahmins, craftsmen, farmers, even people who were called untouchables. And it wasn't just for men. They had amazing women saints too. And because they sang in the common person's language, Tamil, their songs became so important, people started calling them the Tamil Veda.
And if you want to understand just how rebellious they were, listen to this. This is how a Karaikal Amayar, a devotee of Shiva, described herself. She's talking about bulging veins and protruding eyes. I mean, she completely smashed society's idea of female beauty. She was basically saying, my devotion is what matters, not what I look like. Wow, what a powerful thought, right? Even for today. Okay, so this whole idea of a personal, loving connection with God, it wasn't just happening in one community. At pretty much the same time, something very similar, a beautiful movement, was also growing within Islam. And this was the path of Sufism. And you know what? Just like the Bhakti saints, the Sufis were all about a personal, loving connection with God. They were mystics. And mystic is just a fancy word for someone who believes you can experience God directly. You don't just have to read about him in a book. So they rejected materialism, all the fancy stuff, and focused on this inner journey of devotion. The goal, exactly the same. Find God through pure love. Right, time for some important keywords for your exam. Don't worry, they're easy. First, you have the sheikh, or pir. That's the spiritual teacher, the guru. His house, which was also like a community center open to everyone, was called a khanqa. The spiritual lineage, the chain from teacher to student going all the way back, that's a silsila. And when a great saint died, his tomb shrine, the place where people go to pray, is called a dargah. And here's a perfect example of that. This magnificent white marble building, this is the dargah of the great Sufi saint, Sheikh Salim Chishti, at Fatehpur Sikri. The Chishtis were a really popular Sufi order in India. And their dargahs, they weren't just quiet, sad places. No way. They were alive. They were centers of community, of music, of charity, and everyone was welcome no matter what their religion was.
You guys have seen Qawwali on YouTube, right? Or maybe in a movie like Rockstar. That amazing, powerful music that just hits you in the soul. Well, it all started right here. It comes from the Sufi practice of sama, which means mystical music. Legends like Amir Khusro perfected it. It's all about using music to feel a connection with God.
Okay, so we've talked about love and music, but some of these movements went a step further. They didn't just sing about God, they actively fought against the problems they saw in society. For that, let's go to Karnataka and meet a really powerful group.
This was the Virashaiva movement, or as they are also known, the Lingayats. Their leader was an incredible reformer named Basavanna. And let me tell you, their ideas were mind-blowing for that time. They completely threw out the caste system. They said all this talk of purity and pollution was nonsense. They even encouraged widows to remarry. I mean, these guys were true social reformers, way ahead of their time.
And just listen to this vachana, that's a saying from Basavanna. It's so sharp. He's pointing out how people will pour milk on a stone snake, but if a real snake comes, they shout, "Kill it, kill it." He's showing the hypocrisy, right? He taught that real worship isn't about empty rituals, it's about being compassionate to actual living beings. Okay, everybody, exam alert, red alert. This is a very, very common 5-mark question. Explain the main teachings of the Virashaiva tradition. It comes up all the time. So if you get this question, how do you write the perfect answer to get those full 5 marks? Let me show you exactly how.
Here it is, your step-by-step guide. First, you mention the leader, Basavanna. Easy. Second, you explain how they challenged the caste system and rituals. Third, you give some examples of their social reforms, like widow remarriage. Fourth, you talk about how they worshipped Shiva as a linga. And finally, number 5, you mention their poems, the vachanas. You write these 5 points, Beta, I guarantee you're getting full marks.
All right, so from the south in Karnataka, let's now travel up to North India. Because up here, a whole new generation of saints took these ideas and, well, they took them to a whole new level.
We're going to talk about 3 absolute legends. First, there's Kabir, a weaver by profession and a poet who followed the Nirguna path, the formless God. He beautifully blended ideas from Hinduism and Islam. Then there's Guru Nanak. He also taught about a formless God and rejected rituals, and he, of course, founded Sikhism. And finally, we have Mirabai, a Rajput princess who followed the Saguna path, and her devotion to Krishna was so intense, it made her a rebel against her own family. Just listen to Kabir's words. So simple, but so deep. He says you can call God by any name you want. Allah, Ram, Kareem, it doesn't matter. It's like gold. You can make a ring from it or a necklace, but it's still gold, right? He basically spent his whole life trying to tell people to stop fighting over the names and see that God is one. And then there was Mirabai. She was a princess, married into a very powerful royal family, but she just refused to play that part. For her, there was only Lord Krishna. He was her everything, her husband, her friend, her God. She actually left the palace, faced so much trouble from her family, but she never, ever gave up on her devotion. And her beautiful bhajans about her love for Krishna, people still sing them all over India today. Whew, okay, that was a lot of information, I know, but you guys have been brilliant. Now it's time for the most important part, the final revision. Let's put everything together in a quick, super summary, perfect for that last-minute look before you walk into the exam hall. Ready? Here are the 6 key takeaways, the golden points of this chapter. Number 1, Bhakti is all about personal devotion, and it can be Saguna with form or Nirguna without form. 2, Sufism is Islamic mysticism. Remember the words Khanqa and Dargah. 3, the movement started in the south with the Alvars and Nayanars who challenged caste. 4, in Karnataka, we have the Lingayats and Basavanna who were amazing social reformers. 5, up north, Kabir and Guru Nanak spoke of one formless God. And 6, Mirabai shows us the path of Saguna devotion, that intense, personal love for God. That's it, the whole chapter right there. So, as we finish up, let me leave you with one final thought. Yes, we learned all this for our history exam. But think about it. These saints and Sufis lived hundreds of years ago. And what were they talking about? Love over hate, equality, one humanity. Don't you think their message is more important today than ever before? Just something to think about. Okay, all the very best for your exams, my dears. You are going to be absolutely fantastic.
I know it.